It's my first knit crate since they switched over to not letting me choose a color. I'm a little bit nervous. Honestly, I had tried to skip this month because I was too afraid of all of the colors that I wasn't going to like. But it somehow did not register in my account, and they charged me for it anyway, and they shipped it, so there goes nothing. Hoping against hope that it is a color I can live with. Looks like a neutral, which is not as good as a non-neutral. It certainly would not have been my first choice. However, it's not as bad as that mustard color, which I know mustard is super popular, but I'm a winter, and so things like that are just not in my wheelhouse. Let's see. Now, I did wind up ordering some of this particular yarn in some other colors that they had in the Member Central when they were still on sale. So, this, what color is this? Forget Me Not. I don't know why that's this color, because this is sort of a gray taupey, heather taupey color, which again, well, is a good neutral. Now, I ordered this. I ordered a bunch of the blue and some of the green. And do you know, I could have actually ordered 2 of these as well, which I guess now it means I'll at least have 4 of them for something larger. What is this? This is, I didn't even look. I mean, I was looking at the fiber. So what, this is DK weight, 231 yards. I mean, and that's a pretty substantial DK weight too. Obviously, there are 2 of them. Yep. It is not, you know what, I'm looking in a different light. It's a little bit more gray. It's looking a lot more browny taupey in the video, but it's actually full on grayish taupe in my regular light. And let's see what we have. Oh yes, now I have seen some other unboxings and showing off what the booklet has, and I've agreed with the first thing I thought when I saw this was, that's a cute bag. There's no way in the world I would be wasting perfectly fabulous alpaca, silk, and camel blend chainette yarn, because that's what's so awesome about this, is that it's a chainette yarn, which I just love. But I am sure not wasting a wool, silk, an alpaca, silk, camel blend on a market bag. I mean, I don't know what kind of money burning y'all do, but that is not happening in my life. Let's see what we've got as far as our patterns go. Oh, the Forget-Me-Not. Actually, I think the Forget-Me-Not was in the warm toned things, but it's a fairly neutral warm tone. So we have this scarf, which is fabulous, and I wonder if I could do it on a loom, because I'm not there on needles for sure. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, it's a shawl. I thought it was a cowl, but it's a shawl. Either that or, did I imagine, are there 2 patterns? No, it's just the one. It's a shawl. And then, of course, this fabulous market bag, which I definitely want to make. But again, not with swanky alpaca, silk, camel yarn. Just, there's no world in which I want to have that happen. And then we have some knit socks, which are cute. For the sock yarn that I didn't get, I didn't actually love the yarn this month for the sock yarn. And then the crochet socks, which are really cute. I actually love the crochet socks. And that's it. And let me see what my extra is. Oh, is my extra this little little stickers? I mean, I have to say the extras are getting a little bit chintzy. I think last month, I think March's, which had just opened yesterday, because I just got back into town. I think that the March one was basically a bumper sticker. I mean, those are cute stickers. I'll put them in my stash of stickers and things. Just making sure that that's everything. Yep, so while I guess I could have been happier had they had, let's see, what were the color choices again? I just skimmed right over that. So this was the I don't love those color flecks. I really like the blue, but I didn't like those black flecks in there at all. But for the regular kit, the delphinium, the blue agave, and the philodendron, I can't remember which blue I got. I hope I got blue agave, but I may have only gotten delphinium. So obviously, I would have been the happiest with the 3 from the Cool. I did get some of the philodendron. I think I ordered like 4 of those. And I got 6 or 8 of another color. But I can't remember which blue it was. Now I'm looking at this. I really hope it's the blue agave, but I can't recall. I mean, none of these are unpretty. It's not that they're not pretty. It's just that I have limited use for colors in this palette. Because when I see a yarn like this, I want it to be a wearable. And I can't wear it. And there's only a handful of people that I'm willing to buy this kind of yarn, to use this kind of yarn for a wearable for them. And truthfully, most of those people also don't wear these colors. And by most of those people, I mean my family, and they do not. And actually, my sister cannot wear any sort of animal fiber, so she's out on that. But, of course, when I see this, the pansy's really lovely. I mean, they're all lovely. And, frankly, this poppy and sunflower and forget-me-not look really nice, would look really nice together. But I'm not disappointed that I didn't get the sunflower. As pretty as it looks in this bag, no, I'm just not making a $40 market bag with yarn that is surely gonna stretch. Plus, I'd be like, I can't put my bag anywhere because it's made with fancy yarn. Yeah, that's not gonna work. So anyway, this forget-me-not is a really great neutral. If I can trust my husband with fancy yarn, I might make him a hat or something. My mom won't wear this color. She won't wear neutrals like this. She says it washes her out. Which, I mean, she's not wrong. She and I are both winters. So this is not really our best color. However, it is still nice to have hats and scarves in neutral colors. You don't always need bright colors for your winter wear. I have a lot more winter wear than she does, though, being as how I live in the Mitten and she lives in the Lone Star homeland. So, anyway, I could have done a lot worse. Let's just say that, especially for a mystery thing. And that's the issue for me. I mean, I've never been a big fan of mystery boxes. I love the idea of them, but frankly, I don't like the mystery enough to want to risk spending money on something that could potentially be hideous. But as a general rule, mystery boxes, like when you see them from yarn companies, they're usually slashed prices. So it's worth the risk. You know, you're spending $10 for, you know, a pound of yarn or whatever. And it could be great yarn or it could be terrible, but it is only $10. And it's worth at least more than 10. So you could probably at least resell it and recoup your money somewhere from somebody who likes those colors. But especially with their increase in prices, that's the kicker for me. That's the part that is harder for me to swallow. It's not just the price increase. I mean, the price increase plus the extra shipping plus you can no longer choose your colors. And to me, that's a triple whammy. I feel like one of those I could have swallowed and just, rolled with it and said, yep, times change. Sometimes you've got to make changes. You've got to increase things, even if they had said, we're going to have to start charging shipping. And I get it. Shipping is not cheap and it's going up and up and up. I think the real problem is that there've been shipping. It's been free shipping to international destinations. And I'll tell you what, for the price of the box, it's going to cost that much just to ship it. So they've basically been sending free yarn to everybody else in the world. People in the United States have been paying for some of their yarn, but pretty much anybody anywhere else in the world has been getting free yarn. They've just been paying to ship it because effectively that's what it's been. I mean, you can't possibly ship a box internationally for much less than the price of the box. So even with really, bulk rates, I just can't imagine that you can. Anyway, so I think that is the biggest issue is they should have started charging for international shipping a long time ago. And even if they were going to start charging for shipping, to anybody and everybody, just do that. Frankly, let people swallow that. Let people get their heads around, okay, now the price does not include shipping. And I think that most people would have said, yeah, I get it. I'm sure there would have been a couple of people that said, I can't afford a penny more. But I think most people would have said, yes, I understand. I get it. I totally get it. Or a price increase, which then people still think that they're getting free shipping, but really they're just working that into the price increase. But both, that's too big of an increase all at once. And then to just, corner you with and also you can't choose your own yarn. Now, from what I understand, can't you choose your own color, From what I understand, back in the day, that was the way it was. But also, it was cheaper. Obviously, it was cheaper then. I would have never joined had I not been able to choose at least, the color palette and known and seen what I was getting beforehand. It just would never have been worth the risk for me. Yes, you're getting yarn. Yes, you're getting nice yarn. But if you get nice yarn that's a color that you can't use, that's still, in my opinion, it's a waste of $25. And it's certainly a waste of $37. Because that's what it is the price has gone up $12. That is that's a massive increase. And now you don't even get to choose the color. I know I'm going on ad nauseum about this, but I really feel like I'm worried that this is going to kick them in the pants down the road because they did too much before they at least let people get their heads around it. And also just letting people choose their color. I can't emphasize how important that is. Even if they said we can no longer narrow it down to just one color per color selection, if they still needed to do the 9 colors, which already, still feels risky or, like a mystery box in the sense of, of the 3 colors from April, of the 3 cool colors from April, I had my clear favorite, that blue agave. The other 2 are still nice and I would have been happy with them. But truthfully, had I gotten one of the other 2 colors versus a blue agave when I chose the chill out, I would have still been slightly disappointed and said, gosh, I wish I'd gotten the blue agave, because if you get the color you really want, then you feel like you're actually getting more of a value than, yes, that's a nice color, but I sure wish I'd gotten this other one. But it's so much change all at once. And it's just, now at the $37 or 30, no, I think it's $37.99. Yeah, so that's actually a $13 price increase at $38 effectively. So, rounding up a penny. So that is, what is that? $19. That's $19 a hank. Frankly, some of these hanks I wouldn't pay $19. If I went into a yarn shop, I wouldn't pay $19 for them. Some of them, yes. Some of them I would, and some of them I would expect to pay a little bit more. But there are some of these yarns in the last year that I would never have ever paid $19 for a 100-gram hank. I mean, like the Pima cotton from last summer. I mean, it was beautiful, but I would have never paid $19 for that. I wouldn't have even expected it to be that much at a yarn store. So at this point, there's no longer the, oh, I'm getting this extra value. I know, free patterns. I know, I can hear somebody now saying, oh, but you get these free patterns. I've got tens of thousands of patterns. The patterns are just a gimme as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's nice to have them, but I don't need them. It's nice to even see pictures and say, this is what it looks like worked up. But I don't actually need the patterns. I mean, the patterns are nice, what I think of as an extra freebie. But for me, for my purposes, I'm paying for the yarn, and the other stuff is just thrown in. I mean, frankly, the regular price on some of the patterns that I've seen on Ravelry are absurd. I mean, and some of the patterns, especially the crochet patterns, I'm looking at you, Knit Crate, that totally leans and favors the knitters. It's right in the name. Some of the crochet patterns have been, I think, inferior to the knitting patterns. And I know there's an issue with knitting patterns use less yardage, so you can get sort of more from 2 hanks for knitting than you can with crochet. I understand that is a real challenge. That's not, I mean, you have to take that into account. However, I mean, some of the patterns have just been, they've been so unexciting compared to the knitting patterns, which leads to disappointment. But again, some of them have been lovely. This market bag, it is really lovely. It really is. I think I would almost like to see every month have sort of the same. Like if you have a shawl in knitting, you have a shawl in crochet. And for the crochet, it might mean that it's smaller, or it might be a different shape, or it might be different stitches, So again, because you have to consider the yardage difference for crochet versus knitting. But still, I think I would like to see something more comparable. So it's not like, oh boy, those knitters, they get something great and we crocheters don't. Again, some of the crochet patterns have been wonderful. They really have. They've been lovely. But sort of too many times I've seen, sort of plain or simple designs for the crochet patterns versus the knitting. Maybe I'm seeing sort of the grass is greener on the other side. That's possible. The knitters might think the same thing. Who knows? It's possible. I technically can knit, but it takes me forever, so it's like I can't. And I only know the very, very, very basics. I want to do more of it. And so maybe that'd be a good way to use some of these and make them go further. But again, $19 per hank at the new price. And so at that point, a yarn needs to be not only spectacular, because again, if you're getting a box, sort of the idea for me is you're getting a value. You're getting something because you don't know what you're going to be getting each month. Well, you do somewhat, but if I just go to a store and I have $38 to spend, I can spend it however I want to, and I can stretch those $38. There might be something on sale, or there might be, this great color, or I could get, 10 of something. No, I can't get 10 of something for $38 unless I'm at the craft store, but I can't in a luxury yarn. But maybe on clearance, who knows? But the point is that I can make that 38 go as far as I want to. So that has great value. But at the point where somebody else is making the choices for me, I sort of want a little extra value worked in for that $38. And so my expectations at a new price point, my expectations go up. But what I'm getting is actually still less because, again, I can't choose the color. So $19 per hank is still high. I mean, just, as far as just buying yarn, and you need more than one or two of them for a lot of projects, and that just adds up. I'm not saying that nothing is worth that much. I'm just saying that that's still not cheap yarn. And then $19 for a yarn that you don't even know what color you're going to get, and you might get a color that you're not going to love. That's too high a risk. It really is, unless all of the colors are great. And honestly, May looked really nice. I thought about it, but I think it was a fiber that I just said, I've got enough of that. It's too close to other things I have, and I don't want to take the risk, even though there were only a couple of colors in May that I didn't, wouldn't have at least been somewhat happy with. But April, in a way, I'm actually okay that I got this. Actually, you know what? Did I lie? Nope, this is April. I thought maybe I was getting my months blurred, because sometimes they all start blurring together. This, in a way, I'm glad that I wound up getting it, just because I do love chainette yarn so very much. And I have been I think the other thing about this that's so hard for me is that I've loved Knit Crate, and I've referred so many people to Knit Crate, some through my referral link, but a lot of people I've just talked about, and I've said, this is great. It's such a good deal. I highly recommend it, and all of these things. And so now it's like, this is not the same thing that it was. And now I can't recommend it highly to somebody, especially for somebody who's looking for that something extra at a manageable price point. I mean, the price point is now significantly higher, and it's a crapshoot. So yes, you're getting free patterns and apparently some stickers, but you're running the risk of a color and no returns. I mean, again, if you order, in most cases, unless it's a closeout, if you order a yarn and you just hate it, you can send it back. But that's the thing, so you're spending, I mean, even at the yarn stores, local yarn stores, even here in town, I think there's at least a 14-day return policy. I mean, seriously, just even those local yarn stores, which are not doing big business right now, I don't think, or at least not here, not in my town. They still let me have 14 days to decide and bring it back. So I don't think it's unreasonable to say, at this price point, I either ought to get to choose what I want, have a lower price point, or I should be able to return it if I just hate it. And since all of those things, since it's like all of those things added up, make it have less and less value for me. And I say for me, because of course for some people, maybe they say, I don't care, it's my one splurge, I don't buy yarn a lot, and so this is my one splurge, and I'm willing to take any color. I mean, that's fine. And maybe your stash is smaller, you don't have luxury yarns, and this is sort of a way to sort of slowly incorporate luxury yarns into your stash. Yes, I can get why that would be, an easy way to sort of build up a luxury yarn stash. I have gob tons of yarn, y'all. I mean, I've been to small craft stores that have less than I do, okay? So I have a lot of yarn. So I think I'm at the point where I can be picky, because I can be picky because I have enough, that I don't just have to sort of take whatever there is. But also, I'm a bargain shopper. At the end of the day, I'm a bargain shopper. And I recognize that some things are worth more, and I'm not unwilling to pay for that. But at the same time, if I'm going to pay top dollar, I want to have all the choices. I want to have all of the same things afforded to me that I would have if I just went into a store and bought a luxury yarn, namely choice and the ability to return something, but at least, within a short amount of time. So the fact that sort of all of that has been taken away from me makes the value not as good, makes the price outweigh the value. certainly with that mystery factor rolled in there. And I don't have a lot of hopes that they're going to change that. Although I kind of hope that enough people will sort of scream about the color choice, if nothing else. I doubt the prices are going to change. I really do. I mean, that'd be great if they did. It'd be great if they said, we're going to do one increase or the other, but we're not going to do both. But I think that that's probably asking for too much. However, I wish enough people would complain about the color choices so that they would say, let's rethink this, or a return policy, or both, something. Or even get it down to like $30 or $32. Even just that few dollar difference, that seems to mentally, for me too, as I'm thinking about it, makes this major difference in my mind as far as, am I willing to spend $38 every month? No. But am I willing to spend $30? Yes. That feels like a much more manageable thing. And and maybe in another whatever insert time frame, they have to raise it again. But it feels like it's less of a kick in the gut to do it slowly. And maybe they should have increased the price, a year ago. That's possible. Maybe they needed to raise it to $28 last year or whatever. And we saw that a little bit with the paper and the boxes. And as sad as that was to lose the box, oh, you know what? They sent me paper. Is that a new thing now? That's weird. Instead of actually the card, I just realized that. Because the March one, that may have just been an accident. But of course, I got the bag. Or maybe they changed it. I don't even know. And now they're doing the paper thing and the bag. That might be. Which I wish they would reconsider. Because to me, this is a waste of money. This is not how I store my patterns. I'm going to get them on Ravelry. That's what I'm going to do. And they're going to live there. Or download them or both. But I feel like if we didn't have these, we could lower the price dramatically. And I'd frankly rather save, a few dollars on the box than have a paper booklet. I may be in the minority about that. I know some people really loved the booklet. And for those people, I would say, then again, let's go back to having people who want the booklet. Have them pay for that. Have them pay for the upcharge for the cost, of printing the booklets, which with all those photos and everything, that can't be cheap. I'd rather have this money deducted from my box. As cool as it was to get the boxes and, it looked nice and everything, and the tissue paper, that's an aesthetic thing, and it was this fun experience. But I can live without that, and truthfully, what can I do with all those boxes except for recycle? I love the fact that these bags are compostable because it goes right into my compost bin. So to me, that's wonderful. And that's an easy change to make. Although I know some people don't have composters, so maybe it's not an easy change for you. And I've even read somebody say that they actually store them in the boxes. To me, that's not an efficient way to store the yarn. But they may have less yarn or more storage than I do. Anyway, I am pleasantly not disappointed with my April box. I won't say like pleasantly surprised or pleasantly pleased or whatever, because in a perfect world, I would have gotten one of the blues. But still, this is still, it's a beautiful yarn. It really is. It's very soft. It's chainette. Have I mentioned that 80 trillion times already? Because it is, and I love chainette yarn. There's something about chainette yarn, and it makes me want it all the more than just any regular yarn just like it. And, of course, all these really great color variations, which aren't picking up very well on my phone as it happens, but they are there, which, of course, just gives it a nice, soft, heathery, and it looks like a very rustic woolen yarn, but then you squish it, And it's so squishy. And it's so soft. So that is pleasantly surprising. So anyway, here's my April box. And all of my whining and complaining about the changes of Knit Crate. I mean, I've seen some people be very ugly, and I have been angry about some things, and I have said so. I have tried not to be ugly. Being ugly for the sake of ugly is not cool. Being angry is justifiable. In this case, I think people were justifiably angry, frustrated. And I think it's okay to vent frustration. And I think it's okay to tell a company, you know what, this isn't cool, and how you handled this isn't cool, or whatever. I mean, that's perfectly acceptable. But being ugly, being nasty, and cruel, or just, saying mean, kind of making personal attacks, things like that, that's uncalled for. I don't care how angry you are, unless somebody has made a personal attack on you. And even then, probably that's not the right response, is to respond in kind. But especially, in something like this, be civil, express your discontent, with not just your words, but also with your pocketbook, by saying, you know what, I'm not getting this, and this is why. I'm going to tell you why I'm no longer getting these boxes. Now, I'm not saying that. I said that at first, but I'm going to sort of have to see how it goes, because honestly, I love having the discounts in the Member Central, and I love being able to buy extra yarn. I've spent way more money on the extra yarn from the Member Central than I have on all of my boxes each month. That's for sure. So I do love that. And of course, you have to get a box at least every 6 months in order to stay active for that. So if nothing else, twice a year, I'm going to be getting a Knit Crate. I'll just have to see which ones that is. So yes, I'm sad about the changes, but as it turns out, the yarn is still beautiful. Here it is, Audine Wool's Bloom, once again in the Forget-Me-Not color way, DK weight, 231 yards, 80% alpaca, 10% silk, 10% camel. It's not awful, y'all. They still do have a few colors in the Member Central, so check that out. It's not all the way to the 15th, but we're getting darn close, which is when you can get it for less.